The complex nature of cancer has been attributed to its misdiagnosis that often results to missing an important window phase of treatment. In Kenya, it is estimated that about 70% of cancer cases present at a late stage, a phenomenon mainly attributed to its clinical manifestation, replicated like other diseases.
Current statistics in our country, especially based on what we call the Global statistics of 2020, you find that majority of our patients in this country, they are presenting to the clinic or to an oncologist at an advanced stage, actually 70%, because they are delayed in the peripheral facilities trying to seek treatment. So the major reason why we get these patients very late is that we find that cancer symptoms mimics the symptoms of other diseases.
We meet Peter, not his real name. The 74-year-old says that were it not for his family, his situation could be tragic.
I was suffering from a disease which never even related to the cancer itself. To be sincere, if somebody related to me had not come easily, also, I would have died.
Peter's medical journey began with a visit to the hospital of a swollen lymph nodes. This was after a year of being in and out of hospital.
It was a disease which started with the swelling of lymph nodes. That it was a bit complicated because we had visited different experts within Nairobi, and they could not get exactly what was the problem.
Normally, we medical practitioners and doctors and dentists are informed that when they make one diagnosis, they need to do further examinations and tests to rule out cancer if they are treating what is not cancer. And even if they make a diagnosis of cancer, they also do tests to rule out those other conditions that may present similar to what the patient they are dealing with may have presented with.
Experts believe that the most misdiagnosed cancers are those located internally.
The cancers that we usually get at very late stage, as I said, they are the cancers that start with insidious onset and located internally. For example, cancer of the ovary, cancer of the cervix, cancer of stomach, and sometimes esophagus are confused with typhoid, hyperacidity, what we call gastric esophageal reflux, and ulcers. So patients have been treated for ulcers. Unless you go for endoscopy, you see an ulcer that has tumor growth. That's when you may make a diagnosis, because even that's how we pick the specimen for confirmation.
Peter's journey and quest to find a diagnosis led to eventual discovery of lymphoma, a type of cancer that affects the lymphatic system. This is after his samples were taken to South Africa for screening.
Discovering was to refer to those lymph nodes to South Africa.
So like now the patient you're talking about presented with a swelling in the neck. The first specimen actually that was taken, it was a negative test that turned out to be negative. Sometimes we may have what we call a false negative test. So such patients who present with a growth and you investigate and you don't find cancer, sometimes it's always good to give them a shorter follow-up period so that you can repeat the test.
When the results came, it was a bit also complicated. There are times when there is no cancer. There are times when it looks like a cancer.
The detection would later reveal and slap him with the news of having stage 3 lymphoma, a stage that heavily impacts on the cost of managing the disease and impedes effectiveness of treatment in patients.
It was a tug of war to talk or to accept that I have cancer. And they told me, your cancer is in the third. There are grades. Third grade? I don't know. Third stage. Now I was asking myself, third stage, it is almost coming to fourth stage. How comes I'm on a third stage? And this third stage was not discovered even here. To me now, That's where I started getting scared a bit. How comes they couldn't believe or they couldn't discover that I'm in the third stage? Because I always hear my friends when they say, oh, they're in third stage. That is bad.
But if a patient is going to present at late stage or an advanced stage, it means that it is going to be difficult for us to achieve cure for this patient. Having said that, it doesn't mean that patients with late stage cannot be treated. It impacts on the cost of this treatment. It will be more expensive treating a patient with an advanced sort of cancer than treating a patient who has an early cancer.
In his advanced age, he has made peace with his condition, though with only one plea.
In every hospital, they should have a system to diagnose diseases. Because in most cases, sometimes you find that doctors, sometimes they treat a wrong thing. When I mean a wrong thing, I mean wrong disease.
Right now there is a push towards encouraging medical practitioners, the younger ones who have not started specializing, to take up this area that is being found to have an increased need. Remember, even the cases of cancer are increasing in the country. Therefore, we now have a need to increase the number of specialists in that area.
With such a high number of misdiagnoses, the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Council, KMPDC, says thus far no such cases have been reported.
I can say up to date we have not received a single case of a complaint of misdiagnosis. But I believe it's because of the complexity around the diagnosis of cancer, where it could have initially been thought to be something else, and when the right diagnosis was made, the client understands the long process or the complex nature of diagnosing cancer.
However, patients wrongfully misdiagnosed can channel their complaints through the council.
Clients and Kenyans should feel safe by visiting the council, that we are able to help them answer any questions that they may have regarding their diagnosis.
But again, the issue is you don't know what's happening with someone until you sit down with them.